Hi there. Before this afternoon's racing, I thought I'd do a quick video on how to correct that error I showed you in a video the other day where I was trying to combine a CHOB type trade with a variable green up. I've set up a very basic strategy here which does the chobbing part and a green up rule to green up once the trigger point has been reached. So let's just choose this horse here. So I've gone in at 4.3 and you'll see I have a offset bet sitting at 25% for hundreds of pounds. Now what was happening is, if you recall, and it's worthwhile going over again, as these odds come down, this green up all option will cancel any outstanding bets that are in the market whilst or once the trigger point has been reached. So as the odds come down, this money should actually disappear before it reaches the trigger point. Now what happens on occasion, and it happened the other day, the odds dropped so quickly that the trigger point was reached down here. So for £50 based on a £100 stake, we'd be looking at the trigger point being down around about 2.84. Keeping in mind that in simulation mode, Fairbot and any other trading software for that matter that has a simulation mode has to make assumptions as to what's happened to that money. Now, if the odds have dropped so quickly, it can take a fraction of a second for Fairbot to recognise or assume that that money has actually been taken. But what happened in the case the other day is that because of the odds dropped so quickly, that money was assumed or hadn't been recognised as being taken. So as far as the market was concerned, as far as Fairbot was concerned with the state of the market, we had a bet of £100 and the odds had dropped down to here, causing the green up all option to make its calculation based on that, effectively ignoring that value there. So it calculated a lay value to be put in this particular example, around about 2.84 or thereabouts. In the meantime, however, Fairbot then said, the odds have dropped below 3.2, so that money would have been taken in the market. So in effect, there's two lays gone in that total, in terms of actual stake, much more than necessary. And that's why that runner wound up losing money, even though it actually won the race. And in terms of the strategy, it did what it was meant to do. So the way around that is to simply edit the green up all option by putting in a condition that checks the number of lays that are still unmatched in the market. Now we need that to be set to 0. In other words, that green up all function is not going to trigger, even if the odds have dropped way past what would be the trigger point for the green up all. It won't trigger until Fairbot has cleared that offset bet from the initial trade. And that's all you need to do. That should stop it. There's one caveat to that, however. In the variable green up, you will recall that there is a rule which checks, or a condition I should say, which checks the number of bets equal to single odds of 1.01. In other words, we have a control bet in there that's used by the variable green up process. So that's in there, and if that bet exists, the green up process will trigger, and at the same time, because of the cancel button or the cancel setting here, i.e. it cancels any unmatched bets, it then effectively sets that to 0 so that other parts of the variable green up process don't trigger as the numbers change. The trouble with doing that, of course, is because we need that in the market, this is actually going to get rid of that. So what we can do, where we have number of lay bets equal to 0, we can actually change that and specify an odds range. Okay, so we want it from 1.02 up to 1,000. So now we have the control bet still in place. That's all hunky-dory. But we have nothing else. No other lay bets. So as long as there's no other lay bets in the market above 1.01, the green up all will fire. If there is another lay bet in there, it won't fire until such times as it's cleared, in this case by the offset from the CHOB trade. Okay, I hope that is clear. Just pop down any questions if you need to. Cheers.